media covers your story will be built from the ground up. King, dominate. He's the one, the only, motherfucker Jason Lee.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of The Jason Lee Show. My next guest is a friend of the show and a friend of mine and has not been on The Jason Lee Show yet, but she's here today. She is an accomplished actress and a singer who really sings and the mic is always on. Please welcome Serayah. Because you know, there's a difference between singers and then singing with the mic on. Mm-hmm. So I just, you know, you really, really sing. Anyhow, welcome to The Jason Lee Show.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yeah, so we were talking before we got on camera. We are entering Gemini season and you're a Gemini.
I am.
I would have never thought you were a Gemini. I don't know why. I mean, I just expect Geminis to be just psychopaths. I don't know. I don't get you as being a Gemini.
I get that a lot, actually, but I am a Gemini. I am towards Cancer.
Okay.
Kind of I'm a cuspy. But yeah, Gemini season. My birthday is on Saturday.
Yeah, I see that. I see you as I kind of get the Cancer vibe. So for me, I'm a Leo. I'm Leo, Moon, Leo. I'm all the signs are Leo.
Oh, you ball of fire, honey.
I'm a triple Leo.
Ooh, okay.
And you believe in the zodiac, so you're a zodiac queen, from what I've heard.
A little bit. I mean, I feel like it's a surface level kind of blueprint thing. I don't get too deep into it.
Okay, so you're not the type, like I'm the type that when I ask a person who they are, mm-hmm. and when I prepare for a show, I always try to see what the zodiac sign is. I feel like it tells me a lot about the people. Like, for example, a Capricorn literally tried to ruin my life. So if you're a Capricorn, I don't hate you. I just won't necessarily want to have anything to do with you. Are you one of those type of people?
You know, I give everyone a chance, and maybe I should adopt your theory on that. But I do give people a chance. However, I do kind of like understand a little bit more about the person based upon their sign if I had like prior dealings with them, mm-hmm. especially if it was multiple people. Mm-hmm. If it was just one person, I'm like, okay, maybe there's a past, maybe you're just crazy. But if there's multiple people, I'm like, maybe there's something here in the zodiac that I should pay attention to.
And let me be fair to Geminis. Gemini women I get along with. Geminis are some of the most creative people, so I have to give them that. Yeah. I think for me, dating Gemini men, it's just always been something in the water. I don't know. It just doesn't work out for me.
I do hear that, but my son's in Gemini, so I'm not going to accept that, and I'm going to raise a nice, fine young man, and that's it.
Yeah, but your son, he's turning 1?
He just turned 1.
Okay, so he just turned 1, but his birthday's right next year, so is he also
So he's
Cancer?
Actually May 24th.
Okay.
So he's like Taurus, cuspy, I think, I don't know, but he starts Gemini. He's at the top of Gemini.
Well, we'll pray for him.
We'll see.
At least he'll be creative, and he'll have your talent, he'll have his father's.
He's so sweet, though.
Okay.
I don't know, but I know there are a lot of, I don't know many men Gemini, so I don't know.
Can we first talk about the body? Because, you know, I almost feel like it's becoming a competition with all the women that come on my show, because all the women are snatched in their own shapes and sizes, and everybody comes looking crazy. But your body, I mean, can I ask you to stand up just a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Just,
okay.
I mean,
listen, I birthed a child. I've been in the gym.
Look at can we give it up for the body? The body. But I feel like even before the baby, all the way back to Empire, you've always been fit. Is fitness like a big thing to you?
It is. So when I grew up, I was into dance and I also played sports. So it's been like a big thing for me. And honestly, it became a way for me to like just recenter, focus. I get a lot of like frustration out when I'm working out. It just balances me in such a big way. So it's a part of my lifestyle.
But like a gym fanatic? Like
I wouldn't say fanatic.
So are you the type of person,
but I do love fitness.
Unlike me, who when you travel, you go to like the hotel gym. You'll still work out as you're traveling.
I will.
Okay. I haven't, I can't. I can't.
It is hard, but I will. Like I do bring gym clothes, like in hopes. But I can't tell you that like I'm really like, no, I'm going to the gym 5 a.m. Like, no, it's not that deep. But I do bring gym clothes because I'm like, okay, I want to work out.
Okay, eating though. Like what is your nutritional thing? Don't say you eat whatever you want. No. So before baby, I could say that. But after baby, something happened. I don't know, hormones, whatever. And you can gain really quickly. So right now, I'm on a good little salad, little salmon diet. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I love carbs, though. I love carbs. And they just want to stick
in the places. And then I try to have my fittings with my stylist, and then I don't have to fit no more. So yeah.
Okay, and so let me get it. So have you thought about this whole peptide movement that's happening? Are you on any of that yet?
I hear about that. I dibble and dabble, but I'm not too deep into it. You know more about it?
I'm into all of it.
Okay, tell me.
I don't even know all the names of the peptides. My doctor says take this one and this one, because I'll be 50 next year.
What?
Yeah, that's the peptides. It's the peptides. It's the Botox. It's all the things. I'm one of those people that I feel like anybody and everybody should do whatever they feel makes them feel good, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't understand the shaming of whatever it takes to feel good about yourself.
I love aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of it's not for me.
Right.
But I do love aesthetics, and I do think that there is a healthy way to go about it. I do think that there is a way that you can probably get lost into it for sure. But if you do what you want with your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we first talk about the Impact Awards? That was your first year coming attending. You presented to Kirk Franklin, who's also a friend of the show. What did you think?
It was amazing. I was just so incredibly happy for you and so proud of you. Like, for you to be a Black man representing culture and standing up and saying, I'm going to create a space to also do the same and champion my people. That's just like, it's just so goals for me. So I love that. I loved being there. I love witnessing all of the Black excellence, and then the talent that was in the room, me being able to, present to Kirk, who is like literally godfather to me at this point. It was great. It was awesome. And your team was amazing. Everything was smooth and nice. I was at the Beverly Hilton. I was like, ooh, Jason Lee.
And then I saw you and your mom. My family saw you and your mom the next day for breakfast. And my family was just, the same experience I've had with you. Always sweet, always just kind. And yeah, I'm glad did your mom enjoy it?
Oh, she did. We both did. We really did. We were sitting right next to, MC Light was at our table and many others. And then there was, Kaylani was like right there. Then I went to go say, hey, what's up to Megan Good and her husband. I mean, it was just like, it felt familial in there.
Right.
Like it really did feel like, I'm not around these people a lot, but in that space, it just felt like so comfy.
But that's why
it was like, is this being recorded? Because it's like too real.
Right, and that's the whole, and I'm glad you said, because the theme this year was This Is Home. And the whole idea is, right now with Black under attack and culture under attack and, putting us all in that space. I'm sure your mother loved Patti LaBelle. I mean, having Tyler there, who's been such an amazing icon for the culture. We do want to create that feeling of like family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like that. Even when Patti, like her entrance, everyone was like stood up. It was just, I grew up in church, and it felt very much like that. And
we have gospel music in there, which a lot of the award shows have removed it. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys were able. Hopefully, you come back next year and bring your man. Where was he at? Where was his badass? Where were you at?
Where was he? I don't know. He was with the baby, actually.
Okay.
We kind of switched off there for that week, and so I was like, hey, I have like a bunch to do. It would just be really nice if he could just stay home, because I didn't want to just all the flights and all the traveling. Like, it's a lot. So he held it down. So I popped outside. Mommy was outside.
And how do you all manage raising a kid who's 1 year old with both of you having busy careers and no nanny? I mean, I know you have family support, but how do you do that?
Right, like full-time, on-the-go nanny. Well, his grandmother's a huge help. She helps us a lot. Also his mom, my mom. But we kind of has just been figuring it out between the both of us. I haven't been super crazy busy. Things are starting to pick up. So it's a conversation now.
Motherhood, has that been an exciting experience, a scary experience? Because some of the women I talk to, especially celebrity moms because most of the moms that I know that happen to be famous and have kids have, talked to me about postpartum depression and all their experiences where it's just been a roller coaster of emotions. What has been the experience for you?
Thank God, I feel like I had a pretty decent postpartum. I think that I experienced the normal, like, biggest hormone crash that you'll ever experience in a lifetime. Like, I experienced that. I experienced the weird, like, subtle feeling of loss of identity. You go through, like, phases. Because you are the same person, but you're not the same person. You're like you gave birth, but you also gave birth to yourself too. So kind of coming into that was a little hard, a little difficult, but I have a great support system, and I think that really helped me be able to be grounded and kind of just get through it, understand it, and like just sit in it for a second, not like run away from it or try to like flood my schedule with things to do. Like I really did have time to sit in it and like just be with baby and just like understand that this is a process. I'm gonna get through it. This is what it looks like and what it feels like. And honestly, within a few months, I felt there's stages, but I felt good. So, but I do know that that's not the reality for everyone. And I know that everyone kind of reacts to that differently, but hormones play such a big part in who you are.
Yeah, hormonal crash. I've never heard that phrase. Describe that. What is that?
Scientifically, when a woman gives birth, it's the biggest hormone like deficit that any species on this planet ever experiences. Mm-hmm. So basically you go from feeling euphoric and you have your glow and like all of these things, and then you give birth and it literally just all leaves your body. And some people, the reaction happens as soon as they have birth and they feel like just in shock and things like that. And then some people, it kind of like carries out. It can last for years also. And it looks different for everyone. There's just these weird things. Like I remember, for example, this is really small, but I remember feeling like I was in the car with the baby, and we were going to like our first doctor's appointment since I had him. And I remember feeling sad that he wasn't inside of my belly. But it's like, how could you, like he's here. Wasn't that the point? He's healthy, you know? Like
wait, the thought popped in your mind?
Yeah, like I just like my belly was just like deflated and like gushy. It's so weird. But like, it's like and then I looked it up, like, am I going crazy? So I looked it up. And of course, you know, I'm gonna Google it. And it's a normal thing. Like you have this connection for 9 months and then like now 1 is 2. It's just a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, but it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And it's been like the best experience ever for me.
Do you feel like it changed you, and if so, how?
Oh yeah, like I don't give a fuck anymore. You can't tell me anything. I birthed a human.
And survived it all.
And survived it all.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I was really scared not to be vain, but I was scared about aesthetics. I'm like, you know, like, oh my God, my body, like all the things. Like I'm really into like my 6-pack and those things. And that's really hard to get back. So naturally, you know what I mean? And so, no, but there was, you know, I just feel like I went through that phase, but now we're here, and it's made me so much more confident in myself, regardless of like what has changed and gravity has dropped and what has gotten, you know, a little roll here, a little something there. Like it feels like I don't care. Yeah. I just feel so empowered.
Okay, but so you had a son.
Yeah.
But now, are you thinking like, okay, daddy wants to have a daddy's girl, or you want to have a daughter? Are you thinking more kids?
I think I'm one and done.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like it would be nice. Well, he has a sister. So Joey has a daughter. So we kind of have
the whole family.
We kind of have all of it right now already. And I'm fine with that. However, it's like, do I want another one? Right now, no.
Okay. Yeah, but
I still have time.
It's your choice. It's your body, your choice.
It's my choice.
Yeah.
And if that changes, there we go. But right now, I'm actively not doing that.
I love the honesty though because, you know, I haven't had a baby because I'm concerned about my figure too, and it ain't even gonna come out of me. So let's just be clear. Like it's everybody's right and choice, you know. But I love the honesty of it all because, you know, there are a lot of people that work hard and try to work hard to physically be fit, and it is not easy to be able to do it, and then, you know, share such an experience. That's an important experience to bring life into the world, and, you know, not know what the outcome could be. You know. Yeah. It's a real thing.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So your son has a sister. How do you all co-parent? Because now Joey has the kid by another woman. You're Serayah. You're with Joey. Your fiance, by the way. Clap it up for. So crazy. I've known her for so long. You're like a mom and a fiance now, which is insane to me.
I know. It's like a whole different girl from the The empire.
Yeah.
I know.
You're all grown up, but you still look very much the same.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So co-parenting, how are you all doing that?
I mean, it's easy. I feel like they already have their system. We kind of just all collaborate there in that space, and I help wherever I can. I grew up in a co-parenting situation. My parents were very amicable. I had parents who were very much friends, but not together. So I know what it looks like to be okay in the situation. Obviously, once again, that's not everyone's situation. It's not that easy. It's not that simple, but it can be. It really can be once, you have a system figured out. And for me, it's the kid is the most important because they don't deserve to be a part of any type of mess. Let them grow up and create their own mess if they're going to, but we really prioritize the kids. So I've told both of them in the situation, wherever I can help, just let me know. Well, and that's kind of where I leave it.
Yeah, and that's very responsible, because you see a lot of folks online who that isn't their experience, and it spills over into social media, and then my team's over there on Hollywood, I'm not reporting it. Were you very intentional about, okay, this is the type of world I want to create for me, my peace, my kid, you? And Joey's also a very grounded guy. Yeah. Is that very intentional?
It was on my end, yes. When I obviously was in the situation and understood the situation, I always was just championing the idea of, that is your child with another person. And so whatever you guys decide to do with that is your business. But since I am here in this situation, if I can help, then I'm here. Then that's just kind of where I leave it. Because I grew up in this situation, and I was as a kid, I'm don't tell me what to do. You're not my parent,
right.
or just understanding different dynamics between adults that can happen, and you don't understand when you're young. But I just really wanted to prioritize me being her friend, and that's enough.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
This is a question I have, and maybe you can help people who are trying to understand their co-parenting journey. How do you love another kid and be in their life and be very clear that you're not trying to be their parent?
Love another kid's parent?
Meaning you're with Joey, this is his daughter, but you love him, but you're not trying to be her mother or to replace her mother. How do you do that?
Yeah, I'm still a maternal figure, in our household. But as far as certain conversations or what she is to do or not to do, I think that's always something I reserve a conversation for me and him first before I insert myself on the spot. Because I just want to respect I want to respect the child in the space. And I want her experience of me to be a certain way. So I don't want her to feel this is an estranged situation now because this new person is here. Because I know what that feels like.
Okay, so I have Serayah's phone number and I have Joey Badass's phone number. I don't have you all in a group text. I don't text you or call you. Do I get in your personal business? Do I ever call you and say, what's this? Never.
No.
Okay, I reserve the right to do that on this show because I'm nosy by nature. So when I talked to Rihanna about her interview that's coming, she's like, I know there's all these questions you want to ask me that you want to. I said, of course I do. Okay. So because I know you all separate, how did you and Joey, because I know you were in his video in 2020, right? Weren't you in one of his videos?
It had to be after 20. 23?
Let me see. It was, I got
22? 23? 22, maybe.
2000. Okay, so you were in his video.
Yeah.
But you all were friends then after, or?
Well, for the public, we were not dating, but we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were already dating by then?
We were, yeah. We were friends.
Okay. This is what I because I've known you for a while, and I knew you from that other situation.
Okay.
By the way, I'm gonna ask questions about that.
Of course.
Okay, so how did, we're going to start here and work back. How did you and Joey, because when I started hearing the whispers in the streets, Serayah and Joey are there, I'm like, I don't know the connection. Like, where's the connection?
Yeah.
How did I miss this? Why was I not looking? Was I asleep? How did you two connect?
So we connected we connected really through Instagram. But I had first met him at a friend's birthday party, like some time before that. And so after that was kind of like just keeping up on Instagram. And then one DM here, one DM there, one DM here, one DM there. And we were both in the same city, and then we hung out one night. And from there, we just kind of like, we're just hanging out. And it was just like this thing where it just felt natural. It felt good. It wasn't forced. And that's all it was. But there was no title. So by the time the video and all that came out, by the time it actually came out, we were a little bit more like dating. But when we were shooting it and stuff, we were like seeing each other. Yeah.
When did you know? Because like some people will say, oh, this is love at first sight. Or they'll say like, was it love at first sight at the birthday party? Was it the first DM when he slid? Because I know he slid. You ain't gonna slide on him, right? You slid on him or he slid on you? He slid.
He slid.
Okay,
for sure.
As he should. Okay. So was it the birthday party where you saw him and said, "That's my baby daddy," or was it the first DM or the first date? When did you know, like, okay, he's a badass?
Okay. It was when we first hung out in New York. So after all that, when we first linked up to hang out, we went to a concert, and that night for both of us was like electrical and felt very different than, meeting up with anyone on the first time like ever felt. And we both felt that same way. And after that night, we kind of had been talking about that. And then that's when we started like, seeing each other more. But yeah, that was kind of like, it was different. I remember texting my friends and being like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, what is this? I've never felt this before. And that's what it was, yeah.
And this is what I always say to people in a world of oversharing, which you're a private person for the most part, which I respect. In a world of oversharing, over access, and in this industry, just so much coming at you, how do you keep that energy? Because for me, I easily get distracted. Like I'll meet you and I get that electricity, and then my power goes out like 3 days later, and I'm back.
3 days?
Oh, 2 days. And if it's Gemini, that night. How do you keep that? How did you all keep that electricity?
Oh goodness. Well, you're asking the right person. Because I want to. It's really just a choice. You can always dibble and dabble, but I think that, especially for people who have access, right? I mean, if the mailman can, we definitely can, right? So it's like the access is always there. I think that that's not going to stop. I think that it's literally a choice. And I think it's something that you just have to want for your life, honestly. And that's kind of how I approach it.
What sign is Joey?
Aquarius.
Okay, I can see that. But Joey he believed in polyamory before you. So he had all these little situations, and then here comes this electricity, and that polyamorous light went out in his world. That ain't easy.
I'm sure it's not.
But that's a Gemini. I'm telling you, can see it in the eye. So when you met him and he was into polyamory, how did he get away out of that?
So you're so funny, Jason.
No, because and I'm going to say this, not a setup. I literally am learning in my own situation, because I'll tell you right now, at the Impact Awards, I have polyamory all through the Beverly Hilton Hotel. And I realized I don't know if I can handle this anymore, because I
Wait, with you or with other people?
No, with me. I had all my little situations together.
Oh.
But I'm thinking, okay. That's just probably not my thing anymore, because maybe going into 50, and it took me 50 years to get there, I need to try to find that electricity with one person and learn how to keep that energy the same. So I really am interested how you got somebody who was comfortably in it out of that. So
by the time I did meet him, that was an old thing.
Okay.
That was like an older thing. He wasn't in that situation anymore. And what's funny is I didn't even know about that. It wasn't until a little later that my grandma actually called me and was like, I in an interview. I said, oh,
not grandma.
Shit. Yeah, she was like, okay, well, I'm just making sure, but anyways, so by the time, just a little, grandma's always tea. But when we did meet in all of those things, hanging out, all those things, that was a thing of the past. And he expressed how, to me anyways, that was something that he had tried. He thought that was for him. And when he actually went down that road, it wasn't. It's a lot of management from what he said. So
it's a lot.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I haven't managed teams like that.
Would you ever? Well, obviously you're heading. I can't even ask that question.
Listen, I have ADD. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, listen, I don't. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like you got to cover tracks. You got to make sure. It's like you have to present for each person every time, and there's different people. You have to remember like what each person likes. This is a job. This is a real job, Jason. That's why you're so tired.
I am exhausted right now. My team literally said, "Do you want water or Red Bull?" I'm on water today. But it takes a lot of energy. Okay, so shout out to grandma too. And I feel like more of you grandmothers out there need to start Googling and calling your granddaughters.
Oh, my grandma has alerts.
Does she? Mm-hmm. Wild. Yeah, because if you bring your man home and say, "Hey, grandma, this is Joey Badass," she's like, "Hold on, let's just start. Are you on the Zeus network? Like, how badass are you?" But Joey is actually a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
So. Now, looking at your past public relationship, which you don't really talk about that much, obviously because it's in the past.
Yeah.
I met you when you were with Jacob Lattimore.
Yeah.
And you two were just, two peas in a pod. I
know.
Yeah. What happened?
We were really good friends, actually. And that's how it started. We were just really, really good friends. What happened? A lot happened, Jason. But nothing really bad. I feel like in hindsight, what happened was just kind of like me getting into, we were together for maybe 3 or 4 years. And throughout that time, like I was getting closer to 30 and I just was like, what are we doing? And he would just like, we're chilling. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to just chill. So that's kind of what it was. But in hindsight, it was just me growing and evolving and wanting my partner to express more.
To you?
Yeah, commitment-wise.
But did you feel like he just wanted that? What did he want to have?
Just fun.
Yeah, but you guys weren't just having fun. You guys were a couple.
I know. So that's what was kind of like
unclear to you.
Yeah.
So
I like clarity because I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah.
But do you think he was with you because you were famous, you were on a hit show, and like together you guys were in the conversation?
God. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that that's completely 100% because I do know that we had a great friendship. Mm-hmm. However, I do know that he was a Leo. No, I'm just kidding.
Is he a Leo?
Yes.
Did he ruin it for? Obviously now you're with the Aquarius. Did he represent bad for the Leos?
I'm kidding. That was just a little.
No,
it's Gemini season.
There's always a little truth in a joke.
No, I think that there was a little bit of once we did become public, I think a little bit of that probably was playing a part. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know, but maybe.
The energy around the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were the bigger star at the time, no?
Yeah? I don't know. Was I? You tell me.
I'm just here to ask questions. You was on the biggest show on television.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever feel like you were trying to overcompensate in the relationship? No? Mm-mm. He was okay. Well, he's a Leo, so Leos have confidence.
Yeah, very confident. Yeah.
On the Angelique interview, when you talked about it, the energy was kind of different. It was just, you were off of it.
Yeah, because I felt like I'm in a whole new situation, and it's like I was promoting, I think, the movie, and I was just like, I don't really care to talk about that.
Let's talk about Boaz, not...
Correct.
Got it.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
That was more so what it was, too. But yeah, I mean, it still stands true. I don't think that there was anything there was nothing to come out about. You like, oh my God, run to the internet. Da, da, da. It just was like, you know, we just parted ways. And at that time in my life, I felt like that's what I needed.
Yeah. And relationships that expire don't need to necessarily be a beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do understand now, looking back at it, I can be private and I can be like, it's nobody's business. But I guess like putting out those little those little tidbits to people, because then it was like once I got into a new situation, it was like, hold on, wait. You know, the timeline, like, oh. And I was like, y'all, that's been done for like a year. But you just didn't know.
Well, the other thing is when you're when you're a star like you, dating another star, you're in a public relationship that invites, for whatever reason, everybody now is a part of your relationship. The blogs are following and tracking. People not understanding how it unravels or what happened. You know, people just they're invested. They want. I don't know why they want to know. This is why my little polyamory situation at the Beverly Hilton's on the low, because I don't want people in my situation.
Wait, no, we gotta get into that.
No, we'll get into you. So there was nothing, there was no bad thing. It just expired. Yeah,
it just expired. It did. And yeah, it was like, you know, here's the thing for me. You can't want everything and then not want commitment. I feel like, you know, when it comes to like a woman and her life and what she has going, I think that men can tend to ask for a lot without wanting to give any type of security. And that once your prefrontal lobe like clicks on at 25, as a woman, I feel like you're like, hold on, wait, what are we doing here? Because I'm not playing house and do, you know, and in the position to have your child, because let's be honest, right? Nobody's out here celibate.
Yeah, right.
Or waiting until marriage. So the thing is, like, for me, it was always very clear on what I'm doing and what I want. And when things start to not feel right, I just am like, I don't know what's going on here, but I got to communicate it. And if we're not on the same page, then I need to exit.
Interesting, because Eva was just here, Eva Marcel, and she was talking about when she dated Lance Gross, how Lance was ready for her to. What was that?
Nah, it was nothing personal, but I just didn't know that.
Yeah, that they dated?
No.
Oh yeah, but that was old tea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So they were in a very public relationship too. But Lance wanted her to have kids, and she was like, I'm not ready. I'm not having no kids. At the time, that's where she was. Now, obviously, she has 3 kids and he has kids.
Yeah.
But so she checked out, and so it's like being in touch with like what you want and knowing what you don't want, and if it just doesn't fit, it's time to move on.
Correct. Yeah, and it's like, but if you're in the position, well, see, in that. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. If you're in the position to be obviously doing the thing to procreate, you need to be also willing to have certain conversations.
Right.
And to me, as a man, I feel like that needs to be taught more, especially to our men, is like, be selective. One, but also know the position you hold and what you're actually doing means, because then it's a whole bunch of just mess.
When you look at, I don't know about you, but I sometimes look over my past relationships. I don't judge them all against each other, but I know like one that's a friend of mine still 30 years later, still my best friend. We're just best friends. Do you now know what love is in this relationship? Do you know what love feels like? And did it always feel that way? Or has it been a journey to get to real love?
It's been a journey, but I say I know what real love feels like from my dad, my parents, that's real unconditional love. I know that first. And maybe that's why I'm so a little bit more grounded. Like, I've been through things obviously with guys, but I think I'm a little bit more grounded in the fact of like, I don't care how much I like you, I'm just not putting up with certain things. So I'd rather just cry, put on my shades and be out than to be like in a situation and be like really extremely unhappy.
Okay, you and Joey, y'all had that public fight that ended up on the Shade Room. I don't even know if Hollywood Unlocked posted it. I don't know if you had shades on that day because I don't remember the clip.
I did, but they wasn't on the whole time. Gee whiz.
But people, whether you're famous or not, we all have our moments with our partner.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like something's in critical condition when you're famous? Like as soon as we put y'all up, the whole comment section is, oh my God, it's all this conspiracy theory. When that got posted, did you guys laugh about it later, or were you just like, shit?
I was fucked up. I was so fucked up. I was going through it. If you can tell, I was. It really was. And I did not know that we were just gonna get breakfast, and it was someone. Oh my God. The funniest comment I seen from that was like, "This is a new series or something."
like a new show.
Y'all are, oh, it's a new show coming out. I'm like, y'all are really funny. But that's a good idea. No, I was really like going through a lot, just like with family. Obviously, like he had irritated me that day too. And it was just like everything was bubbling to the surface and I just couldn't contain it anymore. I really feel like I was fighting off like energies. Like, it was real. It was a real day. And you know what? That is another part that you just said. It's like a lot of people crash out, but like they get to crash out like without
private. Yeah,
hello,
yeah.
right? So it's like, damn, I couldn't even have my little moment.
But you need to join the Cardi B club because she crashes. I see her crash outs all the time. I be like, did you have to get in a fight at the coffee shop? Y'all couldn't just go in and get a latte and go about your business. But I kind of feel like that's what makes you relatable to people because every woman has crashed out with their man and every man has had a crash out with their girl.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then there's multiple things that are adding fuel to the fire, you know? Like there's a lot. And at that specific time, there was a lot going on with me and my family and just like, oh my God, I couldn't even begin. That's a whole nother series, Jason.
Do you feel slave to celebrity where you can't slip up or you can't have a moment or let people see a real Serayah moment?
I feel like I used to, but not anymore. I kind of just want to be free from that. Obviously, I'm gonna, manage and contain what is most precious to me, the best that I can. But I'm not going to feel like I'm indebted to everybody all the time. It really doesn't, like the whole being public or people coming up to me and noticing me, like it really doesn't bother me. I'm okay, just whatever. But that's the part, like the real deal, emotional, like all of those things, that can be really hard. So when I see people crash out and they posted it or it's been posted, I'm just like, oh man, I know that they're really going through it. And then that just becomes a replay for everybody else.
But I kind of feel like although the crash outs are highly entertaining, because what would we do without Blueface and Krishan or Blueface and...
Yeah.
Did you meet Blueface at the award show?
I didn't. I was kind of scared.
Why? Because all the drawing on his face? He's harmless.
He kind of scared me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, in person, yeah. I'm not going to lie.
He's Blueface, believe it or not, is a sweetheart.
Look at me, I'm like, I was kind of...
I put my friend at his table and she texts me, she goes, why you put me at the table with Blueface? I said, so you can keep him under control, calm him down. Anyway, hey Blue. Okay, so have you had to lose friends and family along the way with this journey of fame? Like, has your experience been where some people who were there when you started, just they ain't there no more?
Yeah, and that's kind of what was a part of the crash out. It was like, damn, I feel like, there was phases of my life where the reason why I wanted to become so successful was like to put on for my people and to give us things we never had. And I feel like when you do have a certain upbringing where you coming from nothing to something not overnight, but like all of a sudden, and there are dynamic switches. There's like there are power dynamic things that change. And not only for you, but it really highlights that in the other people, whether that be friends closest to you, family, partners, or whatever. So I've definitely experienced it with a few friends. I've experienced it with some family members too, unfortunately. But that would make me so eternally sad because it's like, dang, like my heart is in the right place, but you can't seem to get over whatever is darkness is starting to come out from you, So, but there becomes a point where you just can't worry about that, and you've got to just love people where they're at, and just understand that
Ain't got nothing to do with you.
it don't got nothing to do with you. It doesn't. But I'm such a and then that's where my cancer comes in, because I'm such a I just love so deeply and so hard. So that's where it becomes a little hard. But throughout all of the lessons and the years and all of the things, all the giving and all the things, it's just I'm not looking for that necessarily back anymore, or holding it so heavy, or carrying it so heavy.
Well, sometimes you gotta love people enough to let them go.
Yeah.
You know, because that journey that God needs to take them on is on the other side of that relationship. And I feel like I've told people all the time, because people, when I've ended relationships, whether it's my father or whoever, they're like, oh, don't for me, because I'm good. I consciously made the decision that my peace was going to be the priority over anybody. Yeah, and so
you have to get to that point.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so you were homeless, and I was homeless, building Hollywood Unlocked, and Tyler Perry's big ass was in the Little Geo Metro homeless, and we all at the Impact Awards in our fine linens. Was your homeless journey or your unhoused journey, couch surfing, was that because you were in pursuit of your dreams too, like me, or was it just, we fell on hard times and didn't have nowhere to go? Yeah,
I fell on hard times, have nowhere to go. That was kind of a thing in my childhood, up until literally Empire. Literally. My first check, I got us a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my journey there. So there was a lot for me, dysfunction happening, to where I had to manage a lot going on behind the scenes. So I was always here, but I was always there.
Explain that.
Mentally. I would be here out and about doing my job, doing this and that, but I'm still dealing with this bubble of dysfunction and trying to understand it, manage it, all that. And I think now I finally am at the other side of that, to where I'm and having my son, it I was that has nothing to do with me. This is what's important. If you want to get on my wave, which is no drama and let's come together, cool. If you don't, cool. So. And
that applies to everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, speaking of Empire, hey Jesse, because I'm gonna ask this question. When you look at you guys were in Chicago filming.
Yeah.
Okay, where were you when you heard that the MAGA had put the rope around Jesse's neck, and went after him and all of that? Were you on set?
Was I on set? I don't think I was on set. I think I was at my apartment, and I was with a couple cast. I might have been with a couple cast members at the time were with me at my apartment, or maybe theirs. I forget, but I definitely remember it coming up on the news, and we're what? This is real? And then we're texting people and hitting people what's going on? And sooner or later, maybe an hour or two later, we're starting to get little feedback here and there. But we're watching it play out just like the rest of the world. Yeah.
And Empire at the time was the biggest show on TV.
Yeah.
You and Taraji and the folks. How were you all processing and trying to make sense out of what you were seeing? Or were you just kind of, like you said, following updates as they came along? Because even the President of the United States at the time was weighing in on it.
I know. It was, at the time, it was just so, we were literally just at work, you know what I mean? So it just felt just a shock. I don't think we were necessarily trying to put the story together, rather than just digesting it as it was coming. Because we're not his internal team, we work with him, but at that point, it's kind of they shut down the gates around him, you know what I mean? So we just were offering our support. I think we made some videos supporting him publicly. I know I did, and a few other people as well, of course. But that's kind of where it went. And then it went on for weeks and months and years. So, yeah.
Did you ever text Taraji man, he done fucked up the bag? Or it's
No.
over the Lee, goddamn Lee, write this into the script, rewrite it, bring somebody else in. Where is Shamar Moore? Who else can do this? Did you feel this was when it became this big thing? Because it did, the issue eclipsed the show. Did you ever think like, okay, this is the beginning of the end of our show?
I didn't know that. No.
You didn't?
Not until, because once again, like when it was coming out, we were, like, oh my gosh, we felt so bad. Like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is our brother, our castmate. Like, we work with him, all those things. But it wasn't until months later to where we kind of understood. And it trickles down the pipeline. I don't think I'm the first person in line for like the real confidential information. I'm, on that show, I think I was number 8 on that show, which is good in the middle, but I'm not top 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but when number 8 stepped out, everybody knew you was out there.
Well,
Yeah.
do what I do. But so I just on that show, let me tell you one thing about that show, it was a really big stepping stone, obviously. It was also a really huge boot camp for me in the space of like my craft. But also I learned so much about like set personalities, just a lot of things.
What's
and I think
set personality?
Set like etiquette,
Yes.
just being on set.
Okay.
But then like also like actors, personalities, working with people. And we had a lot of that. Like it was the Empire, like action and cut. So I just kind of like was to myself a little bit, yeah.
Were you to yourself because you were just trying to protect your peace and all that, or you didn't ever want to cross the line where I show up, I do my job, and I go away, and that's it?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
How was your relationship with the other cast members? Were people, was it like a family?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I mean, but I do feel, after the first season went crazy, I do feel the second season people walked in with a little something different going on. And I was like, oh, hi, oh, okay.
Was it because the show had blown up?
Maybe.
Who? Was it Taraji? Not Taraji.
No.
Terrence Howard?
No, I
Okay.
love Terrence. Look, he's trying to get, who was it?
Did Jussie change after the first season?
I don't think no, not to me.
Well, who else mattered on the show?
There was a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how far down on the call sheet are we now? Okay, the other girls that you were singing with at the time, we don't remember any of them. Was there a competition between you and them? Because obviously you were the breakout star. Because there were other girls. Weren't there other?
There were other girls, yeah.
We don't know one of their names. I don't remember. Was there jealousy or competition among that group?
Well, so are you speaking about the girls on Empire?
Yes.
No.
No?
No, not in real life. I do feel like they were trying to push me out there. I do.
Meaning Empire was trying to push you out more to the
Not
audience?
Empire, but I do feel like there were some things going on behind the scenes. So this is like 10 years later, so I'm going to speak my piece.
Okay.
There were some things going on behind the scenes that weren't favorable to me. And that has to do with nobody that created it, no network, no nothing. It was more about a certain specific person that, like, basically my friend gave me the opportunity and his father wanted to manage me. And then when I didn't want to be managed by him, he tried to like bring the whole opportunity down.
Really?
Yes. So I was dealing with a lot of that early on, first season, second season. So I'm not really sure about a lot, but I do know that as far as that for me, it was always like, I didn't really know, you know what I'm saying? Like who is...
Like you might get shot in scene 32.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it did come apparent, it was made apparent to us that wasn't gonna happen because Tiana was too loved. So by that time, it was like, they just kept writing me in. I was only supposed to be there for 3 episodes.
No, but that's what I'm saying. When you stepped out, it was like you jumped off the screen. I think people just gravitated towards you. What was it? The personality, the look, the voice, all of that together. What do you think it was that connected with the audience?
I think so. I also think that Lee was like, that was my hair, my big, curly, kinky hair. And he was like, I'm like, okay, so what are we doing with the look? He's like, just how you had it in the tape. And he was like, I want that look. And I think that the whole thing just gave something fresh and new. Black girl with her big afro, curly hair and singing and dancing and all the things. I mean, obviously there's so much more revolutionary to the show, which was like the music component and all those things. But I do think that he has an eye. he has an eye for creating waves and for bringing people, seeing things in talent before the world sees it. And I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, and I think representation matters too, especially
Absolutely.
on a big primetime show like that, for people to be able to see themselves, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Jussie, just to be clear, maintained his innocence throughout all of it, and he's come on the other side of it. And there's still people that have their opinion about him. Did your opinion about that whole situation ever change throughout the process, or did you just say, I'm going to ride with my brother?
Towards him?
Yes.
No. Yeah, I've seen him plenty of times after. It's always love. Yeah.
So what about Brashear? Have you seen him on Twitter?
Can I have some more?
Brashear is literally opening up in ways he's never done before.
Oh my God. This is not even. I think, gosh. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. We're going to leave it there. Brashear, I know you reached out. He'll come on the show. Well, I got lots of questions from him.
I just, I always wish him the best. And I don't know his journey enough. I only know him working with him on set. So
when people see a show like Empire 10 years ago, and people, they become so invested in the family. Oh, they really feel like this is Cookie's kids. This is, right? Do people still, fans, when you see them are they still caught up in that and see you as part of that
No,
whole
literally,
thing?
when I'm trying to find my way into here, the security was like, I love you, Tiana. I said, okay, she's still out here.
How does that feel?
It feels good. I used to be like, it's Serayah, but it feels good because now it's because they love the character and what Empire did, the space that it held in people's lives for 10 years or 6 years or whatever. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool to be a part of.
So you went from number 8 on the call sheet, then you jumped over to Ruth and Boaz, and so is that number 1 or 2?
1.
1, because you're the star, Ruth and Boaz.
Boaz,
so you can share the number 1 spot with another person?
It's yeah.
Wait, Ruth, so is Boaz 2? Oh, so Tyler was 2. Tyler, you was close. You almost got there.
He's won in a lot of stuff.
No, I know,
He's
but
fine.
he wasn't 1 in this. He was 2 in this. No, but he was at the show. Did you see him at the award show? Impact.
I did.
He was there. Did you guys talk?
I did. I see. Well, at the after show.
Okay.
Or
you guys came to the after party?
we did. You were on stage living your life.
See, I needed next year. I'll be down in the mix.
Yeah,
I need to be down
I
there.
wanted to say hi.
Okay, no, because I could have got a picture with Ruth
Yeah,
and Boaz.
Yeah, see. But I seen him and his wife. I said hi. It was beautiful. It was amazing.
How was that experience?
Ruth and Boaz?
Yes.
It was great. Besides the fact that I found out I was pregnant on set and I was fucking so sick. Oh my God.
But you still pulled. I mean,
Thank you.
It was an amazing movie.
It felt really good. I loved that set.
What did you love most about that experience than maybe Empire or some of your others?
Oh, everything. I got to work with so many amazing people. The writing, I feel like, was really refreshing. A love story between these 2 Black, beautiful characters. Beautiful not in how we look, but beautiful as in the essence of the characters. I feel like Ruth was a beautiful character, and I think Boaz represented this this man that everybody. There's people crying on Twitter about this man. Where's my Boaz? So it was
at Magic City. Go right over there and get your ones.
Okay. So it was a beautiful story, and I liked that Devon Franklin, as a producer, he, brought in the through line from the biblical story and made it modern. I think that was really, really cool. And yeah, it was an amazing, amazing process.
So when you're an actor and you're pregnant and dating Joey Badass, and then you're laid up with Tyler Lepley, who's a gorgeous man, how as an actor are you able to put in a mental block to know there has to be a line here? Because obviously Angelina Jolie didn't do that with Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. She jumped in that bed, and before you know it, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was popping with all these foster kids or whatever, adopted kids. How do you put in this mental block where Boaz, this ain't real? I can't allow myself to go there?
Well, it's kind of like it's easy now because I've done it so many times. It's not, and then we didn't have like super, like we didn't have any sex scenes. We didn't have anything that was super like, that made us feel like we were going to be disrespectful to our situations. So I thought that it was very PG-13. And on set, that's easy. It's a part of the job. We make each other feel comfortable with what we want to do or what we don't want to do. And Tyler's a very like respectful person from my experience to his situation. So I've been around men who I'm like, you're giving a lot of vibes, mister.
Yeah.
But not from him, no. It was very like, we were working, he feels like a brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've worked with him before.
Yeah,
so.
but Tyler's hot enough. Tyler Lepley's hot enough. I would ask for a rewrite. Like
you see, and then you're the one that gets pressing the limits.
Tyler, I don't know. On page 32 of this script, I think Ruth went in the barn. I don't know. How fast did you guys shoot that? Because Tyler shoots pretty quick, right?
Yeah, but Devon was like, he gave Devon like the leeway with this one, so we had a little bit more time.
Okay.
Thank God. But so it was about 5 weeks with pre-production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
because Tyler shot a movie in like 5 days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ADHD.
I still don't know.
No, the
how he does
ADHD in me would call for a set meeting, like immediately. What are we doing? Where are we even at?
Yeah.
So does acting get easier along the way with experience and repetition, or do you still take classes? Do you still do all that?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say easier. I think you get more comfortable with yourself. I think I'm always looking to be challenged. Especially when it comes to like roles and things. I think that's what makes it fun for me. Because if it's easy, that means it's probably like I've done it before or the writing's not as good. But when you have really good writing, there's always a good challenge to bring out the most in the character. But what I can say over the years is just comfortability with myself and freeing myself and letting myself be allowed to feel, express, do, mess up, all those things.
I have an idea for you.
What?
Okay.
What are we about to do?
Okay, remember at the award show when I brought down Horace and the other guy from Xavier who plays Angel in Beauty and Black? Were you there when I brought them out down and Tyler was sitting right there and I had said this was the best gay for pay sex scene I ever saw? Yes. You saw that? Okay.
Yeah. Tyler
revealed at the award show after Netflix had canceled Beauty and Black that it's coming back for 16 more episodes.
I remember. He said that night.
I think, Tyler, you should write her in. You were at Fashion Week when you revealed you were pregnant. I think you come into Beauty and Black. You definitely got to fuck Horace and get pregnant by him in order to get Kimmy riled up so you can kill her.
Gay.
Nah, he's just dibble dabbling.
Okay.
Well, maybe he is gay. Okay, so let's rewrite that. I think somehow would you do Beauty and Black?
Listen, Tyler, what's up? Where are we at? I would love to work with Tyler.
Yeah, but the only promise I need you and Tyler to make with me, and I know that she's a fan favorite, you gotta kill Rain. Like Rain gotta die. For real. I'm obsessed with this show. Like I want to get written in. So even if it ain't on the paper, I can somehow push her off the barn and let her die because she's a problem.
I think you are going to get written in.
You think so?
Because you sold it that night at the awards too.
Yeah.
You gave the whole rundown and Tyler is like this, writing it.
I've gone beyond that. I put him and Cardi B in a group text and I said, me and Cardi need to come and I've already told him like, here are my thoughts. And then we do Beauty and Latina later and then Cardi can go do that. I'm already, yeah.
Oh, you need to be a part of the team.
I think you need to be a part of it.
I do.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. What is the biggest misconception of Serayah do you think people have, if any?
I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What's the biggest misconception?
You're so private. You're very good about, the Joey Badass thing of it all. And I feel like I know a lot. Like, I feel like I'm in the streets enough to where somebody from Atlanta or somebody will call me and be like, it literally just popped up one day and I was like, how did I miss that? So you're really good about keeping your cards close, which I actually respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Misconception, I would say maybe Biggest thing is just that I was like a child star and I've been doing this and I've been rich forever. I think that's the biggest misconception because that's like the total opposite of my childhood. But yeah, like I'm really like carrying the pack. Yeah.
Your mother was so sweet too, and I was
you.
watching. You know, I was being a little nosy at breakfast, even though you were across from me. I was kind of looking because sometimes, you know, daughters would be with their mom and they'd be like, "Bitch," but your mother was so sweet. Your relationship, you always look like friends.
Yeah,
Is that the
we definitely
relationship?
are. I mean, my mom had me at 16, so we're definitely like very close, yeah.
I can see that. Now, what did you learn from her and your dad that you're passing on to your son?
Just being open and honest, and like I feel like there was a good balance that my parents kept with like keeping me a child, obviously, but then also like my mom was like, nah, you about to be in the real world, like you gotta know. I really respect and I appreciate that because I think that is definitely what prepared me in certain situations to be like, ooh, 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 you know, just having that wisdom. So that's something I want to definitely carry out.
I was looking at the Breakfast Club clip today where there was somebody on the show and they were talking about keeping kids away from social media. Are you one of those parents that are gonna say, don't get on social media or look at what's out there in the world and then teach them about how to navigate?
I'm not a big fan of the kid like surfing the web. Yeah, no, not a big fan of that. I feel like it's only from my experience, but I feel like when I started surfing the web, I was a bit older. I was maybe like, you know, middle school age, which is kind of, you know, early adolescence and things like that. So I'm not a big fan of like, you know, letting him necessarily do that. But I do, obviously, there is screen time and stuff for learning and things like that. Like I do want him to know how to operate the systems. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna like control what he sees.
So I'm a big fan of this woman that you worked with, Mariska Hargitay. I know you were in the video. I'm a huge Mariska fan, Law and Order. Like
Yeah, I love
literally,
her.
I literally go to sleep hearing about all the murders and stuff in Law and Order.
You're like my mom. I don't know how you sleep to that. Nightmare City.
No, that's what I saw something online where they talked about how that was sick to do that. But
Yeah,
I live and breathe, eat Law and Order.
Oh my God.
And this woman. How was that experience with all those phenomenal women and Taylor? Because that was a while ago, but what was that experience like? And then again, that's another moment where we feel like you all are still in a group chat talking to each other.
No.
No.
It was great though.
Yeah.
It was great. I do feel it was a moment. It was a vibe. Her album was coming out, you know, all of those things. But it was great. It was honestly amazing to be a part of it, to meet some of those women and to be, you know, kind of squatted up with them in this way. And it really did allow me to see a different side of the industry and to be like around other beautiful, amazing, talented, successful women.
And to be grouped into that group. I mean, that was
Right.
a lot of powerful women.
Yeah.
How did it feel to be selected to be one of those? And how did that even happen?
I thought it was unreal, but to be honest, Tiana from Empire, Taylor is one of those girls who keeps her finger on the culture. She knows what's going on, and she knew about me. And her team personally reached out to my mother, who is my manager, and she was like, "Text me, Taylor Swift's team wants to know if you're available to do." I called her immediately. I said, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Because no, this is not real. And she's like, "No, seriously." I'm like, "So wait, she texted you?" And like, I'm trying to get all the details. But yeah, they literally just reached out and knew exactly, are you available? You know, we'll take care of the rest. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm available.
But that goes back to that whole thing of, you know, what God has for you is for you.
Yeah.
Whether you're 8 on the call sheet, somebody behind trying to snatch you off, this or that. Like
Correct.
once God's hand is on it, what can you do?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. And like I stay steadfast to that. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna come to work, do my thing. And that's what I did.
Cindy Crawford is probably the most beautiful like icon, and she's the nicest person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
Well, I'm glad that you have, you know, seen all the success that you've had. You got your man. Is the wedding going to be televised? Is it going to be private? Is it going to be big? are you all? Is
You
it a
must.
secret?
You need to get Joey in here because it's gonna be not televised. Like he is lock it down central. So, yeah.
Really? Why?
Yeah. It's just his thing. Like he is. I mean, I'm private too, but he's like super, super private.
Yeah, Joey. Every time I see him, this is our conversation. Man, I need to come on the show. Joey, it has been. Yeah, you know, you one of those, and it's okay. Matter of fact, I'm gonna text him when you leave to say,
text them.
You know, wifey was here. Where you at?
Pull up.
Because this is the show where we got to get into all the things. But again, he's so private that
Yeah.
he would just have to tell me if he downloaded all of Drake's albums since he don't like Kendrick. But I'll save that for my interview with him.
That is not I'll leave that to y'all.
Okay, well, listen, this is the interview, but you can't get out of here without us playing some games.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, here at the Jason Lee Show, we like to play a couple games, fan favorites. The first one is one that everybody loves. It's called Name Drop. It's really simple. We're going to put a picture up here on the screen, and you're going to say the first thing that comes to mind immediately. Don't overthink it.
Oh, man. All right.
It's a safe game, I promise. This first person, Tyler Perry.
Mogul.
Have you been to his house in Atlanta?
No, I've never been to his house. No.
Serayah, you need to go to the house in Atlanta. I have never seen anything like it. He has probably at least 3,000 trees in the front yard surrounding it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's insane.
I know, it's probably like unimaginable.
Okay, Mogul. Isn't it inspiring though to go from homelessness to the place?
Yeah, it's crazy. And to know like, well, for Ruth and Boaz, like we were going to his lot and I'm like, what? This is insane.
You didn't stay on the lot though?
No.
Okay.
We did all the pre-production there.
Okay.
And we shot like mostly locations.
Okay.
But still, I was like, this is so beautiful, so crazy.
It's a whole world of its own.
Yeah.
Okay. This next person, Taraji.
Mother. Because she was cookie lying, you know?
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to come through and smack you.
I kind of feel like when she became Cookie, that people just, she embodied the character to the extent that it was a real person.
Yeah, it's Cookie all day.
Was she like that on set, off camera? Like she's Taraji.
Yeah, I mean, Taraji is Taraji. You know, she's gonna come through. She has a big personality, bright energy, but you know, it's not all the time. I think that she has her moments where she was like, you know, to herself, respectfully so. She's number one, number two. Like they had a lot to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and this next person, Jessie.
You're so beautiful. Shake it, shake it. I don't know. That picture just gave me like the song on. You was trying to give me.
No, I'm just you know, we covered him in the thing, but when you all were singing on the show,
that specific picture I feel like is an era of Empire, and I could just see that music video we did for the show.
When you all were singing on the show, because the music was a big deal as much as the show was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that people were going to gravitate to the music in the show as much as they did?
I had no idea, Jason. It was a pilot. There was nothing before it that I could go look. I could only just look up the people who were involved. So I didn't know. I did know that they had a lot of heavy hitters attached already, like music showrunner, Taraji, Terrence, and then obviously Lee. So I had an idea that this was gonna go, but I didn't know that it was gonna do what it did.
And Tiana just took off. And this next person, Joey.
Oh, stupid face.
That's your nickname for him?
One of them.
Stupid face. Now you know that's real love. Okay. All right, this next person, Chris Brown.
Just talented. I mean, it just doesn't stop. I mean, he's still doing backflips and cartwheels and like, damn. Yeah, he's just super talented.
Him going on tour with Usher, I think lots of people are going to get pregnant.
Yeah, through just looking, just watching.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. I think
including my best friend back here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She's shaking her head yes, for those of you who can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so remember when Keke Palmer went to see Usher, and
Yes.
he did the cherries thing, and then that
Yes.
ended up her man couldn't
I love
take it.
Kiki.
I love
That's
Kiki
my
too.
girl.
Her man couldn't take it. He was out of there. If you find yourself at this concert and Usher comes over with the cherries, are you allowing yourself to get roped into that, or are you staying completely away from fruit
First of
that
all,
day?
I'm an ick. So like, where did the cherries come from? And you've been on stage for 2 hours. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Respectfully, like, cute, let's have a moment, but no.
No, you're not going there.
No,
Okay,
I'm not
smart. See, Joey, I had to ask for you. Okay. All right, this next person. You were in the
First
Gotta
thing
Move On
that-
video.
Love, 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 love. I would just say like, yeah, he just is just like that suit. Just
Big personality.
Yeah.
Illuminating personality.
illuminating. Just to get ya. No, I'm just kidding.
When you've seen all the things, do you feel like, man?
And then they kept playing my clip.
Why?
Why? Yeah. Why? He has years of work. Why are they playing that?
You could have
clip?
just went on Twitter and said, y'all got to move on.
Hello.
Right?
Literally. I should have called you.
Leave Serayah alone. Yeah, call me. I'm here to give advice. If
My
you ever
dad
need
was
it.
like, yeah, they keep playing your video. Are you sure? Oh my God. This is so
And
bad.
again, to the world, when you show up and do a job, it's a job. And when the job is over, there's no connection. Like we're not still group texting.
No.
Yeah, but
right.
you're the audience. People are so invested.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, this next person. This is Auntie Yolanda Adams.
Oh, she is, I would say, ethereal.
Mm-hmm.
She is just so graceful, and she is so tall. When I tell you, I'm like, that's a woman. Okay, when I'm around her. I worked with her on Kingdom Business, so we worked a lot together. And she is just so graceful and so sweet, and just as beautiful as she want to be. And obviously, the queen in my household for music.
Did you see her sing at the Impact Awards before the show where she was singing in her seat?
I did.
She's the only way I can describe Yolanda Adams
Yeah.
is she's just love personified. Like she's the
Thank
nicest,
you.
right?
It's like it just comes out of her.
Her
Very,
spirit. Yeah.
very graciously and like very honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love Yolanda Adams. Okay, this next person, Cardi.
Ooh, bad bitch. She's just a bad bitch. Just through and through. Like she's just so honest with her craft, with herself, with her audience. She's fearless. I think she really does personify the bad bitch.
Mm-hmm.
She's like doing her thing. I mean, she has Grow Good. Like I'm happy for her.
And
She's also come a long way.
she has
And I downloaded her mixtape, so I love Cardi.
so
yeah.
you know like the Cardi
Love and
that was
hip-hop.
yeah.
When
When
she threw that chancla, I said, ooh.
and you said she inspired you to be able to have kids and still have the career and not.
Yeah, I think she was a big inspiration, not just for myself, I'm sure for a lot of people. I think she was just like, she didn't allow the industry's status quo about women and when they age out and what they should be, when they should have kids in their career and things. Because she was like still earlier on in her career, like just popping. And she decided to have her baby. And I think that spoke volumes. Because a lot of people before her are scared of that or didn't have their kids or waited or hid them,
Right.
you know?
Okay. Well, this next person I kind of touched on a minute ago, Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh. Twin. No, I was kidding. Gemini twin. I would say he's very thought-provoking. I think he strikes me as a person who sits in his incubator and he really thinks it all through. And then you don't see him anymore. Like, where is he right now?
Right.
You know? But that's a Gemini for you. Pop out and go away.
So he's a Gemini too.
He is.
Yeah, and he's pretty cool and creative too. And I think again,
So creative.
A Gemini's creativity is unmatched. I feel. I mean, one of our creative the person that designed all this is a Gemini. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. And he's crazy too.
Is he a part of the poly?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Oh, I don't shit where I eat, baby.
Oh, okay.
Please. No, I would not. If people see any attractive people around me and say, "Oh yeah, he works for him because he's attractive," no, they're good. I don't
Good.
I don't play where I work.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to finally come to the Jason Lee show.
Finally.
And next year at Impact Awards, I'm gonna tell you off camera who's coming. It's gonna be fire. So you have to pull up.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Please give it up for the Gemini Queen, Serayah.
Yes.